morning, everybody. Welcome to Jasmine Astrology, Jasmine Brozovik Astrology channel. Today we have a third out of many planets in the 2024 transit series. Just a second. I'm trying to. Excellent. So we're going to be live on Instagram as well. I guess it's working. So today we're gonna talk about Saturn, and I have a special guest. It's Andre. You already know Andre from many previous lives I did, so you can check them out for New Year's Eve, and we had some roundtables for many other things as well. Welcome, Andre. How are you?
Good, Jasmine. Thank you so much for having me. How are you doing?
So now I can't hear you at this point. I could hear you a
Oh,
while
no.
ago, but now I can't. So I guess this Instagram thing is not working. I'm gonna close it again. Maybe
Okay. Can you hear me now?
yes. I
Can you still
closed
hear
my
me?
Instagram. Maybe it's that. No, I can't hear you now.
Okay.
Again. See, these are technical things. We were all good before we went live. Now I can't hear
Mm,
you.
man, hang on.
Maybe you can just take off the I don't know
What if I try
the
to
headsets or something.
this? If I remove them.
Hi
Oh,
guys, whoever is here, thank you for being here. We have a little technical difficulties. Mercury in shadow.
is this better if I remove my
No,
microphone? No?
no.
Man.
I don't know why, because we talked just before we went live.
Yeah. What if I exit and rejoin? I'll try exiting and rejoining.
I can't hear you. Hi, astrology style. Oh, he's gonna come back in. Okay. Hi, how are you? Yeah, we have some technical difficulties. I was gonna go live. Sunny summer. Hello, everybody. Andrew is coming soon. He's having some technical difficulties this morning. Live. I can hear you. Oh, you can? So it was only me? So I was not able to hear him. Why? Oh, maybe because of this. I know why. I hope he comes back soon. I know what happened. Let me see if he's here. No. Anyway, how is everybody doing? Put me in the chat. Tell me how is the start of the new year? What are your expectations? What are you looking forward? What are you scared of? I hope he can come again. Yeah, this I tried to do Instagram and this YouTube live at the same time, but it's not working. So I hope he can come. Okay, there he is.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello?
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, I hear you now. I think it was me,
Yes.
not you. So I'm
Yes.
sorry. I apologize. I think it was
Okay.
me.
Oh, no.
Okay,
You're
so
fine.
let's start again. Okay, how are you? How are you
I'm
first?
good. I'm really good. Aside from the technical difficulties with Mercury's shadow, I'm doing really well. I've been pretty busy. I've gone a little MIA on Instagram, but the holidays just get really busy. But I've been
That's
really good.
normal.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Thank you though. How
vacation
about
time.
yeah,
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 yeah.
for right.
I
How about
also
you?
took
How are you
some.
doing?
Yeah, good. Very excited. I booked my January full. I'm so excited about this Capricorn energy that I'm going to use it.
Yeah.
I'm maxed out on Capricorn energy. Awesome. Yeah, so I apologize everybody for this technical difficulties, but I know what was the problem. I just can't go Instagram live with YouTube. It doesn't work for me. So before we start with transits of Saturn this year, can you, Andrea, tell us more? What is Saturn all about? What are the energies? What kind of what can we expect from Saturn
Yeah.
in general?
Yeah,
What is the
so
energy?
a lot of it is it I was kind of surprised to see how kind of packed 2024 was with Saturn transits, and a lot of
Yeah,
people will be like, "Oh no, because Saturn is categorized as the greater malefic." But I like to think that I'm friends with Saturn. I have Saturn. I was born with Saturn in the first house,
Hmm.
retrograde, and it really made me realize that I need to be a good evaluator and an assessor of quality. And aside from, yes, there were obstacles and things presented to not specifically to hinder me, but that did hinder me in some ways. But those obstacles I feel are being presented to be surmounted and to gain patience, prudence, and contemplation and a meditative attitude. Saturn wants us to slow down. And
Yes.
I am starting to believe that it wants us to slow down and smell the roses and not like, yes, like in a kind of a gritty way, not like Venus, but it is exalted in Libra. So it is
Hmm.
it is very Venusian in my opinion, but it wants us to realize that like our time here is in a physical body is finite. So it wants us to be like, hey, stop speeding through life, slow down and enjoy and savor the quality of time that you get.
Absolutely. It's about a mastering thing. So to master
Hmm.
something, you have to practice a lot. So that's
Hmm.
Saturn all about. It's not like a quick fix, it's not a quick gain, it's not like a quick thing. You need to master something, study it.
Hmm.
That takes time. And of course, by doing this, you're restricted from some of the gains you will get if for a quick thing, or there's some things are delayed in that sense. So that's why we call Saturn, father of time, and some planet who gives us some kind of limitation and boundaries, and so keeps us in check as well. So but that's good. We need to have Saturn in our lives, otherwise we would go crazy and be all over the
Right.
place. So that's good.
Right.
So
Yeah.
before we start with transit, I just want to tell everybody all the transits that I could pick up. I put in the description below in this video, so you can check it out. But in general, Saturn is going to go this year through 3 degrees Pisces until 19 degrees Pisces. So that's general. So we know where it is in your chart. Um, and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
awesome. So we have Sunny Summer. Just before we start talking in more details, Sunny Summer says, "I'm a Taurus, sixth house, and Scorpio rising. It says I might find love, but I haven't been lucky. I'm focusing on getting healthy. That's good. Yes. I mean, with yeah, that's good. Saturn has been squaring my natal moon. It's been painful. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I had this the whole last year, so it's not been easy. But Saturn gives us reward after hard work. After
For
all, so
sure. For sure. Yes.
awesome. Well, thank you for being here, both of
Thank you for
our
having me.
viewers. Okay, let's start. What do you want to start with? So, what is happening first in January with Saturn,
Yeah. So in January, what do we have?
or whatever you want to start? How you want to start?
Well, I maybe for our viewers who might not know, what if we touched on Saturn being in Pisces for just a tiny bit so we kind
Yes,
of have a
please.
groundwork?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So um I I love this placement. I'm biased because I was born with this placement. Um um it has a very much so like a forsaking the structures and boundaries of the known to venture off into an inner quest of the unknown. It makes this kind of, as paradoxical as this might sound, it makes us
Mhm.
define our spirituality. It
Mm.
makes us make sort of practical idealism, you know, and not dogging on Pisces or Jupiterian signs, because they're all about idealism and optimism
Mhm.
a lot of the time, and some of those things aren't able to be concretized or crystallized. So Saturn is like, okay, these are great ideas. Do they make logical sense and do they work? How can we crystallize them and concretize them and make them practically useful to ourselves
Mm.
and to our loved ones? Saturn's very utilitarian. It's very utilitarian and wants to make things that are useful and practical, not
Yeah,
just for the
yeah.
self, but for everyone. So, utilitarian spirituality, ways of looking at the soul, chiseling away illusion and intoxication and deception through that we make with our own personal filters, our rose-colored glasses, if you will. Saturn's like, no, 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 we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
He comes in and he kind of puts that away, and he reigns in illusion. It defines what we see as the beautiful or the spiritual in the mundane. Yeah, just a little exposition there on Saturn Pisces. What do you think?
I do yeah, with Pisces energy, Pisces energy is out there. It has no
Hmm.
limits, right? So Saturn gives us actually, I love, how many people say they're religious, but they don't practice religion, or
Hmm.
or you say, "Oh, I'm spiritual," but you don't practice spirituality. So this Saturn in Pisces actually kind of um, makes you think, "What am I even believing? Why am I
Yeah.
believing that if I don't practice it? Like what is the connection? Like what does that mean?" So
Hmm.
it kind of makes you think, and I do want to have a practical, as you said, a practical approach with my belief system in everyday work and everyday life, and how can I do it. So I totally agree
Right.
with you, because I know many people are just, especially in my country in Croatia, like everybody's Catholic and they baptize the kids, but nobody goes to church. Like, why do you even, I'm
Mm.
thinking like, why do you even do this? Like, it doesn't, anyway. So another story, but
Yeah.
it's kind of, this
Exactly.
Saturn in Pisces kind of makes you think about, yes, why am I doing this? How am I practicing? Am I
Hmm.
really committed? Like, you know,
Yes.
um, in that sense, right? So absolutely,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
I also I have come to see Saturn as like a seeker. A lot of its symbolism has to do with wandering because you've become disillusioned with something in your life, that so much so to the point that it makes you turn away from that and seek something different, seek something
Yes.
uh, longingly better. Like you long for something better, and that makes a lot of Saturnian people like contemplatives and mystics and occultists, because they seek those things out and what might be dark or hidden, which Saturn also rules. It rules darkness because traditionally it was seen as the last planet at the threshold of our solar system, as in our reality. And that it was very revered in that way of being the dweller of the threshold and ruling the
Mhm.
known and also ruling the unknown. So it's very much like this esoteric seeker, and these sorts of things. So I try to bring that approach to my Saturnian aspects too.
I love that. I love it. Yeah, as I
Mhm.
said, we mentioned this in the beginning. It's about also not just mastering things, but understanding,
Mhm.
uh,
Yes,
in a practical
understanding.
way, what is this, what is this all about, because we
Hmm.
we gain by through our parents and our environment. We gain all these beliefs we didn't actually develop, we just took over. Yeah, so Saturday Pisces is telling us, okay, is this what you want, what do you want, where do you go? So in that
Hmm.
sense it gives us a revision, which is a good thing, and then I like that. Yeah,
Thank you.
awesome.
Yeah, absolutely,
Cool.
absolutely.
Cool.
All right. So what are we
So what's
doing
happening with
first?
this
January.
Saturn Pisces? What is he doing this year?
Yeah. Yeah, so Saturn, January 2024, we got him sextiling Mars, is that right? Yeah, sextiling Mars. So
On
um
Capricorn, yes, he
yeah.
will, because it's all about, I like this Saturn is more on a receptive side in Pisces,
Hmm.
so it won't be, when it was in Aquarius just before, it was more out there, and so this one, it's more receptive, as I said, so it's going to be more. I like this one. I like this one.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah,
what do we have
like
first?
yeah, so we got Saturn sextiling Mars, so focused willpower, persistence despite hardship. I
Mm-hmm.
whenever Mars and Saturn come together, I think of it's kind of a it's interesting because Mars is exalted in a Saturnian sign, but whenever they come together in aspect, I think about them like Mars being the gas and Saturn being the brakes. So like they're both kind of going at the same time, but I think that's a good thing in like moderation, which is like a key thing with Saturn. So if you are continuing onward, but not like pedal to the metal, completely like flying, with that Saturnian like moderation and discipline in there, I feel like you will go far. You won't expend your gas. You won't wear your car down and destroy it because you're taking care of it. You're making sure to stop and you're making sure to maintain it, take it into the body shop. And this is a long, extended metaphor, but I like this for concentrated willpower for sure to be
I
able
like
to.
that.
Yeah,
I like
thank you.
that. I
What do you?
had excuse me. I had Caleb
Sure.
yesterday. We talked about Mars, and I have Mars Saturn conjunction in my natal chart. So I
Oh wow.
really understand this, wanting to do something and Saturn telling me, no, 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 not yet, not now. Take your
Yes.
time,
Hmm.
go get better at what you're doing before you start doing it. So
Hmm.
it can be a lot of frustration, um, from my experience. But in a good aspect, as you said, it gives you focus and concentration to do things, right? Excuse me, I
Right.
had to drink some water because
Oh, you're
life.
fine. You're fine. I'll do that too.
Yeah.
Water break. Drink your water,
So
kids.
I think it's gonna be a good because Mars is in Capricorn, and this just gives us a boost to do things, right? It just gives us
Hmm.
more of this. I like this aspect a lot,
Yes.
and it's gonna
Yes.
sextile Mercury later in the month
Mm.
and Venus. So
Mm.
Saturn this month is actually doing so many beautiful things with so many opportunities for us
Yeah.
to grow in a productive way, not just a Jupiterian optimist with no foundation, but to set up foundations to do something for long run. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Venus, I'm sorry, sextiles are of the nature of Venus. So when a
Yeah.
planet sextiles another planet, it's very pleasant.
Mm,
Saturn likes to throw in a dose of reality in there too, and just like have us define, like the sun has us define what is real about something, I'm finding, and Saturn helps us define what is not real about something so we can attain what is.
mm.
And so with those kinds of aspects, especially the benefic ones or the positive ones, I guess if you want to call them that,
Yeah.
it really helps us do that in a constructive way. And
Yeah.
I feel like it's the cosmic appraiser. Like it kind of makes us go around and do like a, did you ever do show and tell in school when you were a kid?
In Croatia we didn't do that, so it wasn't a thing.
Okay.
It wasn't a thing. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So yeah, here in the U.S. and I don't know if they have in Canada too, but they have they would ask children to bring something that they were really excited about and show it to the class and tell it to them. I feel like Saturn makes us do that. It is like, okay, show us this thing that you have
Yes.
and tell us about it. Tell us how it works. Tell us what it is. Does it work? What do you think about it? So I think Saturn makes us do that, and it makes us do it slowly and methodically and
Mhm.
contemplatively and lovingly. I think doing things slow also means that you care about the quality of your work. Not that doing them fast does means that you don't care about the quality, but something to me about doing it slowly and savoring it really makes us do that. So I think Saturn with Mars is going to help us define what is practical about our use of advocacy, our
Mhm.
willpower, might make us define what we see as righteous anger. Because
Mm,
it's good to be. I don't like to be angry all the time, but there are some things that we should be like, what is this? Like what's
yeah.
going
Yeah.
on here? We should be upset
Yeah.
about that. And I think
Yeah.
Mars really helps us kick in gear about that. And then with um, with Mercury helps us concretize our thoughts, our communication
Hmm.
style, the way we question things and analyze things. And then with Venus, it helps us with love, with relationships,
It does. And
and
spending money, like you kind of
mhm,
know your values and know where you want to spend your money on. Not just,
yes.
when Jupiter touches Venus, you're just gonna go, oh, I like this and I like this and I want this and you don't need it. Afterwards, like, why did I buy all things? With
What have I
Saturn
done?
and Venus, like, oh, and even in the relationships, what do I need in a relationship? What do I value? Kind of understand, and gives you that groundness, which I
Mhm.
love. It really necessary, really necessary.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So guys, Saturn is doing very good in January. So use it, wisely because it's gonna help us with a lot of things, especially after holidays and you overdo things and um it could give us the drive,
Mhm.
the think before speak kind of aspect as well. And then not overspending and understanding, maybe even saving, maybe
Yeah.
this is like opportunity to save money, right?
Mhm.
with this
Yes.
with
Yeah.
this aspect. Yeah.
Assess our
Beautiful.
values, assess our money, and see where it's at.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Do you want to add anything to for January before we move on?
I think that about covers it for January.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, it's a good. So, guys, January Saturn, good. So use this. You can do things in a disciplinarian, focused, concentrated way. You have support from all inner planets, Mars, Venus, and Mercury. Beautiful. Like whatever you touch.
Hmm.
Good. And for a long run, right? Saturn is also, as you said, slowly, long run. Think about starting something and that will give you gain for a long time, little bits of pieces for a long time. Yeah, I
Yeah,
like that.
even not knowing like if you may get the gain while you're alive, like I see it as uh planting an orchard at a certain time, so
Mm,
your children or your grandchildren may be able to reap the benefits, but just doing it for the sake of doing it, doing something good, doing something productive with quality.
that is so Saturnian, orchard. Exactly. Thinking about your, you know, I love that grandkids. That is so, I never thought about it that way.
Mm,
Beautiful, Andrea. Really
thank you.
beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's really nice.
I
Okay.
appreciate you.
What what do we say about February?
February. Um, you take the lead on that.
So
I'll
I
follow
see
you
he
on
has
that.
only a conjunction with Sun and Mercury in
Uh-huh.
Pisces end of February. Everything before
Yeah.
he's not really active
Yeah.
um, until it's just that conjunction
Man,
on the February 28th. So
Sun Saturn
it's going to be
aspects,
Mercury,
man.
Sun, and Saturn together.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I they are I will admit Sun Saturn aspects can be kind of difficult because the sun just loves to shine and it does its thing. And Saturn kind of comes in with its darkness and its skepticism and is like, are you being for real right now? Are you actually being real? What's going on? And the sun's like, yes, of course I am. What are you talking about? You're being fake, you know? So it has this like I feel like it has this dynamic between like what's real and what's not, because they're archetypal opposites. You know, because
Yeah.
Leo opposes Aquarius, and they have this. They're very much so intertwined, and so being able to see what's real, the organic versus the synthetic, the machines versus nature, something like that. You know, and also. Um, Fathers, authority figures,
Authorities,
people,
yes.
yeah, authorities for sure. That might become really prominent, and might Saturn
Yeah.
might ask us to define what we find, what is real about authority and what is not. How we can
Especially,
practically go ahead.
yes, especially in Pisces, what is our divine authority? Who do
Mm.
we get our in
Ooh,
our belief system, right?
yes,
What is
lovely.
who is our God, let's say.
Wow, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and like, it's Venus is Venus is exalted in Pisces. So Pisces is on this. I feel like on this quest to um, see the divine in the mundane, see how it manifests in the
Mm,
mundane. So I think yes, I love that. Seeing what we seeing who our divine authority is
yeah.
and seeing how we can see that beauty of that divine authority in
Yeah.
the physical realm and our physical life at all times, when even when we're washing dishes, you know,
Yes. Yeah.
realizing that
Absolutely. Yes.
yeah, yeah, like even realizing that washing dishes itself is like, it's a crazy experience, because like who made these dishes, like who harvested the materials to make these dishes, and then like, and then you're in your
Hmm.
house and like washing them in your sink with your running water and your soap, like all these things of interbeing. I feel like that's what Saturn and Pisces really does. It makes you see the connectivity and the details, and the appraisal of the details of interbeing for sure.
Yeah. This conjunction also can, because as we mentioned, talks about divinity.
Mm.
It can gives it can give our ego a check, and you
Oh
and
yeah.
thinking, oh, I'm not a god, because many of us think we are gods. Like
Hmm.
people
Yes.
people go throughout the world and think, that I'm the, there's no god, I'm the one. So this will give this like a little bit of reality check,
Yeah.
of our egos with this combination, especially in Pisces. I feel so.
Yeah,
Just
and those Saturnian reality checks are when you're not doing so hot, Saturn, those that's when those reality checks from Saturn seem harsh. But if you're living moderately and you're disciplining
Yes.
yourself as best as you can, I mean, obviously Saturn isn't asking us to be
Yeah.
like an ascetic, even though he rules that. But um, when he asks you to come around and like do the appraisal check for cosmic show and tell, and you're doing good, he's like, all right, keep doing what you're doing. But if you're not doing good, he's like,
Yes.
oh, we're gonna take that away. That's not working for you. Sorry, bye.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's true.
yeah.
On the other hand, people who struggle with self confidence, this is just not good because this is,
Hmm.
really, it's a very like a it's an attack on our confidence in some way, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah. So
Yes, yeah. I was born with the sun opposing Saturn natally. So
yeah.
these kinds of contacts are they are difficult for the self-confidence, but it also asks you to build your self-confidence slowly yourself by hard work, by doing things that you might seem scary and that might have taken away your confidence in the first place. So it's a
Yeah, but
paradoxical
you're
thing.
going through your Saturn return right now,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
soon. So
Yeah, yeah.
after that, it's going to be much easier for, especially with that placement. Like after,
Hmm.
I feel that after your Saturn return, you're going to feel like, oh, you're going to be
Hmm.
become your own authority, and you will realize that you need to reparent yourself. I read that somewhere. I think it's very,
Yes.
very good.
Oh yeah,
That's
I absolutely have. And for our friends who need to reparent themselves, my one of my favorite authors of all time, he was a Buddhist Zen master, Thich Nhat Hanh. He wrote a book called Reconciliation: Healing the Inner Child. It is a beautiful, amazing book. That might be a great book to read during this transit. Helps you reparent yourself, helps you hold
oh,
your inner
that's
child, see it.
beautiful.
Oh, it's just gorgeous. It's a gorgeous book. He was a great
Awesome. Can
person.
you please later in the comments just write it down so people can go check it out because I'm going to
For
check it
sure.
out.
Of
I
course.
think it's very good.
Yeah, of
Even
course.
with a client work, to read this book, understanding your clients and people around you better, with these placements, because it's not easy. Anyway, so
Mhm,
just have this as a thought, guys. End of February,
mhm. Yes.
and then March. What is
Ooh.
so March is also not very active.
Mhm,
A conjunction with Venus. That's the only
mhm,
March thing
mhm.
that Saturn is doing.
I find those transits really significant. Like
Yeah,
they
it's
get
Venus.
together and like yeah. Yeah, it's just because planets move quickly, we might not we might not see them happen like right when they happen, like the results of the transits, but they're still impactful. We just have to pay attention. And
Hmm.
the because that's what astrology is. It's like a meditative practice. Like you're seeing these things happen in
Yes.
real time and meditating on them. Thinking about them is another word to say,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
just again assessing quality of how you relate, of how you
Mm.
connect with other people. I saw this post from I cannot remember the name of the astrologer, but
It's
she
okay. It's
shared this
okay. We,
post.
we read and listen to so many of them. They will recognize
Yeah.
themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, she shared this post about Venus looking like a mirror, and like it
Mm.
shows us how we relate, how we relate to others who see our image, and how we come off to them, because I do think there's a dance. You can't just go in and be like, I'm just going to do. I mean, you can go in and be like, I'm just going to do what I do and not care what anyone thinks, and that's good, but there's a line to that, because
Mm.
relationships are more than one person. So
Yes.
Venus really, like Saturn really comes in with Venus aspects and Venus themes, and it's like, hey, is this working for you? And if it's not, it makes us hit the boundary, like hit the wall, and then realize that there is a threshold in that wall. There's an entrance to the other side in that wall, and that other side might be scary. We might not know
Hmm.
like what's on the other side of that wall, but Saturn invites us to go through, because he's the dweller of the threshold. He is there and he might look scary, and the dweller of the threshold is just the it's a personification of our karma, of our actions. And if the dweller of the threshold is looks kind of grotesque and kind of hard to look at, it might be because our own actions have put us there. And by examining that, he asks us to walk through that threshold and examine what's on the other side, what might be hidden, what might be occulted about it, uh, the things that are happening on the sidelines or in the subconscious that we can't see. And yeah, with Venus, it just really helps us see new ways to love. It might be difficult. There might be a stress test beforehand, but the you come out with such an appreciation of the quality of love. Is just it's a
I
beautiful
love
transit.
that. And
Thank you.
guys, don't forget, uh, Saturn is here for the long run. So this is like a
Yeah.
commitment as well. If you want to commit to somebody, this is
Yes.
great opportunity. This is going to be on the 21st of March. So just
Mm,
beginning of spring. It's like it's going to be a breath of fresh air at the time. So you might want to feel like this is the time that I want to commit. This is like I'm going to give some seriousness
mm,
into the sphere of even not just relationship but money as well. You know,
yeah.
taking a you know taking the
Our
time to
v-
kind of do the budget or thinking of how much I spend. Let's have
yeah.
this, for the long run. How can I save money or invest in a good anyway? So
Yeah.
it's like a more serious tone
Mhm,
in that sense. I
yeah.
like that, Andrea, very
Thank
much.
you.
Oh,
Thank you. Yeah. Helps us assess our
so we
values
have
for
a
sure.
yeah. Hi, Kai, the K10. She says hi to you both. Why does Venus do well in Pisces and Saturn in the 12th house when they are both about structure and contracts and order, when 12th house and Pisces are not? Okay, what are your thoughts about that? Good one.
Well,
Good one,
yeah, it's
K10.
a great question. I love that. Why does okay, let me read that. Why does Venus do well in Pisces and Saturn in the 12th? Okay, so um about the 12th house, Hellenistically, they did not use what is called today they didn't correlate signs and houses. So like Aries did not rule the first house, Taurus the second, and so on. Actually, in the Hellenistic scheme, uh, the joy of Saturn was in the 12th house. So Saturn was situated very nicely in the 12th house because it's a liminal space. It's a psychological blind spot. It 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 does connote mental suffering, but that mental suffering comes because of those cosmic appraisals that we keep not passing because we keep doing things that are outside of our view, as in self sabotage, self undoing. That's what the 12th house was called. It's called the house of self undoing. But that goes to a degree. The self undoing comes when you realize that, like, oh, I've been striving towards this thing that might not have been for real. So what's really real, like what really matters. You might
Mm-hmm.
see something that's really disillusioning in the 12th house or with Saturn in general, and just want to go, you forsake that and you go in search of something else. And that might feel like wandering. And that's what the 12th house is too. It's wandering. You might kind of feel lost, like you're just kind of in a fog. You don't really know where to go. But through that journey, you learn to um, not just you don't learn about your own self-sabotage, but you learn of the undoing of the self. That's why it's a spiritual house. It's so spiritual and meditative and contemplative. It does rule isolation. Isolation is good in some
Mm,
cases. It's solitude.
yeah.
We need to be alone. We need to meditate. We need to actually contemplate on things instead of just
I
go
was
go
gonna
go all
say
the time.
that,
Yeah,
would then
go ahead.
Saturn in the 12th house mean like a good mental health in a
Mhm.
natal chart?
Yeah, I think it could mean both. I think it could mean like challenges with mental health, but then the
Like
ability
with both.
to,
Okay.
yeah, to define those challenges and define what they are, and then start recovering from them. I say
Mm-hmm.
this as the ruler of my 12th house is in my first house, because
Okay.
it's just you start it starts off kind of rocky, but that suffering that Saturn connotes, again, are those obstacles that we are asked by the forces of the divine to surmount and grow as a result of. And not every single challenge is a lesson, because sometimes bad things just happen and it's hard. But that melancholy that the suffering
Mm.
engenders,
Yes,
it's
Saturn
a
is depression, right? Saturn can be very
yeah.
depressed. Yeah. So.
Yeah, but it's it's a wistful and melancholic longing for something better, for something of quality,
Uh,
for something that's real. So, yeah. And then you had another part of your question.
Before you continue with Venus in
Yeah, go
Pisces,
ahead.
I want to just say that this topic is so interesting and we should go deeper in it. And we're going to do another live on this because I feel
Yeah,
that this is something we need to go deeper on. This is just, it's not doing it justice, just a few words. But thank you for the
right.
thought. And I want to explore this more with Andre. We're going to, yes, for sure, we're going to do this
Let's.
because I want to explore this more. Very good. Thank you, K10. So, Venus in Pisces, why is Venus in Pisces exalted?
Yeah. So, Pisces is very much about the physical world too, and living in the physical world. It's a water sign. So, earth and water signs in general are all about dwelling in the physical plane and the
Yeah.
physical existence. And water is all about the emotions, all about the ebb and flow of our, and the fluctuation of our constant emotional state. And Venus going in there in in Pisces is about beauty, and
Yeah.
Pisces
And
also
art.
has an art.
And art,
Yes,
so beauty and
yes.
art. So this is what she loves, art. Pisces ruling art, and
Hmm.
Venus loving that in a more, not in a Libra way, kind of going to see the art, but doing the art, kind of,
Yes.
singing, dancing, writing,
Hmm.
painting, like doing it, enjoying it, not looking at other people's art. That's why I think Venus
Yeah.
and Pisces. That's for me. It's like really,
Absolutely. I think like being a Pisces rising myself, I feel like Piscean people get kind of possessed, like in a good way when they're doing art stuff, when they're singing, when they're dancing, when they're playing an
yeah,
instrument, when they're painting, when they're sculpting.
yeah,
It really enraptures you. And again, it's like that. There's so much fluctuation and change in the physical world, because that's the nature of the physical world itself. And again, Pisces is on a quest to find what is beautiful, and that can look so different to so many people. But to me, Pisces is a very spiritual sign, being ruled by a
and
spiritual planet.
romantic. What do you
Yes.
think? Is it,
Oh,
is it, is it
yes.
is romantic? And
Oh
Venus
my God.
loves
Yes.
romance. And because
Hmm.
Pisces is all about, you know, being together and one, and just, just flowing somewhere in some other realm, and
Yeah.
fantasy, and just this
Hmm.
beautiful enjoying and beauty. Yeah. Sorry for
Yeah.
interruption. I just,
Oh
yeah.
no, you're exactly right. I love that, and like it's about going off of what you said. It's about a romantic longing, for something else, and I think that Venus helps us see what is beautiful. Again, it's about seeing the beauty of the divine truth in the mundane life. Even if you're washing your dishes, even if you're walking your dog, seeing that every single thing that you see on a surface level with your eyes has a spiritual a spiritual divine meaning. That's what the Neoplatonists call the divine trinity of goodness, beauty, and truth. And that's what it is. That's what Venus is looking for. And that's I think that's why it's exalted in Pisces, because it has a
Yeah.
really beautiful way to make us see what is good, beautiful, and truthful in Pisces. And thus we
Yeah.
see
Thank
the
you, K10,
divine in
for
the
this.
mundane. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for this. I'm now thinking about romance in astrology. I need to do something about it. I want to explore it more. Which side is the most romantic? Now I went, my Gemini brain is like thinking about so many other things we need to explore. Beautiful. I'm just thinking about it. Okay, awesome, awesome. This is so nice. Thank you guys
Oh, it's
for
lovely.
asking questions. It always open up. Even we learn through your questions. We also learn, and start thinking about, it opens our eyes. Now I'm thinking about romance and
Mhm.
how, yeah, very, very
It
nice.
helps my it
Okay.
helps my Virgo Sun and Libra Mercury to talk about things and learn them that way for sure. So,
Yeah,
mm.
yeah. Thank you, Andrew, for this. This is very good, very good.
Oh, thank you,
Okay,
thank you.
April, we have a Mars Saturn conjunction. Yay, my favorite. Okay,
Yeah.
that's going to be April 10th, and in Pisces,
Mm,
and that's it for April. Yeah,
mm,
that's it. So this is the big conjunction. There's like a new cycle. Every conjunction starts like a new cycle, guys. So,
mhm.
uh, what can we expect from this one?
Man, um, I I enjoy it might be difficult at
Yeah,
first. I enjoy Saturn and Mars contacts because I'm biased. I have I have a Saturn and Mars contact myself, and um, makes me think of heavy metal. It makes me think of just like this really like aggressive, like, let's go. But a lot of people see that, and at surface level, they think it's scary. But enjoyers of heavy metal enjoyers, meme. But people who enjoy that kind of music, I feel like it just makes them feel alive. Myself, it makes me feel alive. It makes me feel like I have blood pumping through my veins. It makes me want to just go out and do something, man, and like make something happen. But again, with the contemplative, the gas and the brakes, alternating
Hmm.
the two, doing so in a disciplined manner, but doing so with this fire burning inside of you that just is
Yeah.
continuously stoked for the long run. And yeah, it's a really beautiful cycle for just putting your nose to the grindstone, man, and getting stuff done. It's a great
Yeah.
transit for that.
Yeah. From a personal experience, because I have a conjunctions in my chart, it's about using that energy before it uses you. So you
Mm,
have to kind of express it. You have
yeah.
to try to find a healthy way to express it. One of my teachers, Steve Judd, he always says, martial arts or doing something, Tai Chi or something that you can, because otherwise you get this frustration and it's just anger. It just boils up because, a sunny
Because there's
summer.
a lot of
Yes,
bullshit.
Andre. Sorry for sunny summer is asking the title of the book you mentioned. Can you just repeat the title and I'll write it down in the comments
Yes.
so they have it.
Yeah. Yep. It is by Thich Nhat Hanh. That's TCINHATH. Thich Nhat
I
Hanh.
can. Can you type it down for yourself in a
Yeah.
message? Can you type or
Oh,
no
let me.
in a chat? Or
Um.
can you or can you just sunny summer? Can you just wait when we finish? Andre will type it in the comments,
Yes,
and then
I
you're gonna have
absolutely
it.
will.
Okay, so we don't. Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
See,
No.
it's good.
Yeah.
Inner
Yeah.
child something, but I can't type now. I can't
Yeah. I
focus.
can't. Yeah. Yeah. Just remind me, and I'll for sure put it in the
Yes, I will.
comments.
Yeah, I
Um.
will remind you.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
so this is
The.
gonna be very intense, like a new cycle coming up.
Mhm,
So think about how can you use your energy so the
yeah.
energy doesn't use you in some sense.
Yeah, I
Um,
feel like it's standing up to the man,
um,
standing up to the man and like realizing the dichotomies, like the aggressive dichotomies between the establishment and those outside the establishment, whatever that might look like. And hopefully not stoking the flames of like war, but again, righteous anger, making us realize what we should be upset about and what we should like choosing our battles, for sure.
yeah,
Go
choosing our
ahead.
battles wisely. Yeah, that's good. I like
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
thanks.
good. Awesome. Yeah, that's a very good one. So Saturn will maybe give this Mars a check. Awesome. So okay, May. What is happening in May? So we have Sun sextile Saturn and Venus
Mm,
sextile Saturn again. So that's the second time. And Mercury again sextile. So this is like kind of like a January repeats itself with all these sextiles, kind of.
mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
Great, a lot of opportunities in May then.
Yes, for sure. Those really pleasurable, like constructive,
Hmm.
quality checks, and those, the again the validity and the constructiveness of looking at things past a service level. My teacher Adam Ellenboss always reminds us that Saturn is the god of feigned appearances, and
Mm,
like while he does rule feigned appearances and deceit, sometimes he also rules the ability to see past those feigned appearances. Saturn is wow, Saturn is a way to it's our skepticism. It's like a healthy skepticism. And it's
yes.
like, okay, is this actually what's going on? But we want to be careful and moderate ourselves. And like you said, use the energy before it uses us and
Yeah.
not become cynical. We just want to be like healthily skeptical, but not cynical and think everything like sucks and is just stupid and,
Mm,
and not real all the time. Yeah, so it definitely um, helps us see the skepticism of what's real. And I'm sorry, hang on. It helps us be healthily skeptical and see what's real and what's not real, but it also asks us to look behind those illusions of what's not real, and really search for what is. And that might look like a quest that not everyone is taking. And the quest itself, that search is very isolating, but in that isolation You have time for contemplation, meditation. It's just like going to a monastery. That's what I think Saturn is. It takes you to a monastery,
Mm.
and it helps you do that. It's actually three things. Can I just talk about those like really quick? I think that'd be really
Yes,
cool.
absolutely. This is a Saturn show. Talk about
Okay.
Saturn, please.
Cool. Yeah. So, and this also goes in line with what they were talking about with the 12th house too. Someone asked a question about the 12th house, but I think Saturn isolates us, and you can be isolated
Mm.
in three places. You can either be isolated in a prison, in a
Mm-hmm.
hospital, in a hospital or a monastery. And like all of those places you go and you think about what you've done. I think Austin Coppock is a brilliant astrologer. He made this point. You all three of those places you go and you think about what you've done. A prison, how did I end up here in this prison? Like, how did I imprison myself? In a hospital, how did I not take care of myself enough to get to this point? In a monastery, you're thinking, how can I live my life in a spiritual way? And so many of those places you need to be alone to think about that. And you have to be away from all the stuff that's happening to think about that rightly.
Yeah, I
So
can I can witness to that what you're saying. So after my
mm,
Saturn return, I had there's my story about my Saturn return is also on my YouTube channel if you want to listen. I was a guest at Louisa's channel.
oh
Um,
wow.
I divorced. I had a previous marriage, and I after that divorce, I was alone, and
Mm,
that time alone helped me so much. Those couple of 3 4 years that I had for myself after that hardship to understand, and this solitude helped me to move on. I made new foundation.
oh
It's just a new, it was beautiful. So I embrace, guys, for every hard transit you have, especially with Saturn. Andrew is 100% right. Embrace some time alone to contemplate, to make new foundations, and start over.
wow, beautiful.
It helped me so much, solitude at that time, because
Yes.
people say, oh, you need friends, you did this. You actually don't. You need support, emotional, to knowing that you have somebody, yes, but not really talking to them, in a practical way, but with yourself. I
Hmm.
can witness to that, and it was, look, I mean, you me, I'm beautiful. Anyway, just wanted to confirm what you're saying is absolutely true from my own
Oh,
experience. Yeah.
thank you. Thank
Okay.
you. Yeah, it's
Beautiful. So May is going to be also be beautiful with all this nice. It's similar to January. So many opportunities for you guys to use this energy in a focused, disciplined way. Use Saturn for long run in May as well. Do you have anything to add with for May?
No, I just, yeah, with like January, it's going to be nice and constructive for Saturn. I do think that we might have just a tiny bit of difficult aspects in May, but Jupiter's also going to be ingressing in a Gemini in May, I believe.
That's yes.
So that's going to be that square between the two is going to help us see like what's going on there, in terms of like defining our philosophical worldview, our spiritual worldview, our magical worldview for my magical practitioners out there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, so it's
yeah.
yeah,
But
it's
Saturn is overall Saturn is good in May. So
oh yeah, for sure.
so if something else hits us, Saturn will kind of help us to focus. So that's good. So that's always good.
Mhm,
You know.
mhm.
Actually, I love Saturn. To be honest, with yeah, I know what I'm involved with. I know who am I dealing with. With Jupiter, you think, oh yeah, and then kind of get disappointed so many times. So with Saturn, you don't get disappointed. You
Oh,
exactly know what you're
yeah.
doing, and if you embrace it, it's much easier.
Mhm.
I'm not saying it's not easy. It's not easy, but if you embrace it, it's easier. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yes,
That's it.
absolutely.
Okay, so for June we have, then the squares start because we
Woo.
have a bunch of Gemini stuff, right? So we have square
Yeah.
Venus, square Sun, square Mercury. So yeah, so June is gonna be yeah, yeah, because when Gemini season starts, Pisces and Gemini square each other, so it's kind of like da-da-da-da-da. June
Mhm.
is on that side is gonna be a little bit harsh. What do you say? It's
Yeah.
an immutable
Yeah.
sign, so it might be easier than in fixed or
Mhm.
cardinal.
Yeah, buckle up, buttercups, for that one. That's a a bit of a doozy because of the sheer amount of things that like mutable signs give us. Mutable signs love options and
Yeah.
choices and variety and the duplicitousness of things. In traditional astrology, they were called double-bodied signs, so it's
Hmm.
both and.
Yeah.
So there's a lot for there. um, yeah, the square to Venus. I enjoy Saturn Venus aspects. The square to Venus is squares are of the nature of Mars, so that dynamic tension there is gonna be a little palpable. So we might have some disagreements or some flare ups in areas of, you know, love and like being responsible and mature and established in love and how we relate to each other. And Saturn might be like, hey, is you gotta, what are we doing here? You know, we gotta improve, we gotta build a more solid
Mhm.
foundation here. Because aside from ruling foundations, I think that Saturn is also really analytical too, so it pokes holes in foundations.
Yeah. And
It likes
especially,
to
I mean,
poke
Venus
holes in
in
foundations.
Gemini, she likes to flirt and be everywhere. And Saturn's going to say, no, 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 no.
No, no.
Stick to this flower. Stick to this flower,
Yes.
right? No, but look at,
Yeah.
no, no, no. In that sense, especially in Gemini, she's very, she
Yeah.
likes, she's curious. And then, kind of curiosity killed the cat feeling with this. But
Yes.
how cycles go, because Saturn and Venus are going to make such a beautiful aspects before June. So if you worked on them before, then you're ready. Then this won't hit you that
Hmm.
much. That's also Saturn. It gives you time to
Yes.
prepare, gives you time to make it, and then this won't hurt you that much if you've done the work before June, because it,
Yes.
it will give you opportunities, right? With all these
Yes.
sextiles.
And
Hmm.
to your point, just really quick, like another image that I wanted to put out there.
Yeah,
Saturn
please.
rules agriculture and farming.
Hmm.
And think about it, like agriculture and farming is a long game. You have to plan out everything that you do at the time that you do it. If you do it wrong, then like it could affect everything in the long run. So when you seed correctly, when you plow at the correct time, when you harvest the correct time, you have a bountiful harvest. And that's what Saturn does. He makes us go back in time and look at, did I do this correctly? Did I work with this correctly? Did I seed here? Did I plant here? Did I pull up some weeds here? And if you do everything correctly, it helps us reap a bountiful harvest, because Saturn is the father of time. It is seen by some as the Grim Reaper, but I don't like to put Grim in there. I just say Reaper. That's what he is. He reaps what he sows. So if you sow
I love that
discord,
analogy. I
thank you,
love that
thank you. Yeah,
analogy.
it's
Yeah.
it's a great one for him. Yeah, go ahead.
From my since I have a financial background, I always think about money and Venus. And then, if I think
Yes.
if you like, for example, if you saved money while it was sextiling, now when the square comes in, if you have some extra spending or something that is happening, then you will have that money. But if you
Yeah.
don't, I'm just thinking that that's one of the examples as well, in that sense, right? Because
Yeah.
interesting. Love this, guys.
Exactly.
Think about it. Think about long runs. With Saturn, always think about long run. So 7 years
Hmm.
at least seven
Yeah.
years. That's the cycle of Saturn.
Right. Yeah.
You
And
think?
and just like not far fetched, but just far reaching plans. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, 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 no. This is totally. I mean, it's relevant, but it's not. Think about 7 times 7 old in your life. When you were 7, when you were 14, when you were 21, when you were 28. Like think about, 7 starting school, so many changes, and then your tooth also they're falling, right? And you get your real teeth when you're 7. So that's also really Saturn. And then 14 is teenage years. I don't even have to tell you about that. That's another. And then 21, you probably finished college or something, starting workplace, and then 28. Um, anyway, I don't want to go further. Andre needs to go through this.
No spoilers, no spoilers.
No spoilers, no spoilers. And then and then it's easier. I feel after Saturn return, at least from my experience, like time doesn't matter anymore. In my 20s, I thought I don't have any time. In my 40s, I feel that I have all the time in the world. Isn't that absurd?
Hmm. Yeah.
Like I
No,
lost. Yeah.
I was just going to say, I don't think that's absurd at all, because like you've now realized the value of your time,
Yeah.
you know, and you're
Yeah.
enjoying it more and savoring it. And like, and that Saturn is also values too. It's an appraiser. Like, remember, it's exalted in Libra. So it's all about the scales and the weighing and seeing what works and what is equal and balanced. Um, yeah, yeah,
And
for
this
sure. I
square
love
can
that.
actually, yeah, this is a good point for this square. Getting
Hmm.
to knowing the value of your things. Yeah, very
Hmm.
good. See, everything makes sense. Okay, let's go to July. July we have, oh, now we have trine Venus because Venus changed sign to Cancer. That's much better. She loves being in Cancer. This is a
Yes.
beautiful thing. So July
Hmm.
2nd, guys, mark it down. Beautiful day.
Hmm.
Use this well. I don't know. Very good. Um,
Hmm.
a sextile. Oh, so now it's going to go retrograde. So we forgot to mention. So Saturn is
Oh,
going to go retrograde at some point, which is very important to tell. Um, it's going to go retrograde. Is it May 2nd? No, 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 no. Just a second. Just a second. No, no, no. In May. Yeah. Sorry. It's going to go 29th of June. So end of June,
mm,
it's going to station to go retrograde. So end of June, it's going to go retrograde. So think about now that it's the revision time of all this Saturnian things that we talked about previously that is happening during the year. Now it's the revision time, end of June. Okay, so now it's retrograding, trining Venus, sextiling Mars, trining Sun. So it's beautiful. It's a Cancer season. Saturn in Pisces. Lovely, lovely things are happening. Lovely things. Yeah. What do you say about July? Although it's retrograde. So what do you first say about retrograde uh,
yeah,
thing in July in sense?
yeah. Retrogrades, they are, we all know that there's hiccups and stuff. I think that it's time of reevaluation. So Saturn already evaluates things by nature. So this is like Saturn times two. It just really makes us like stop, like like not just slow down, but stop and be like, okay, we need to lay out all of the details of this plan here,
Mhm.
and we need to go strategize about them. We
Yes,
need to really
strategize.
yeah, that's such a big Saturn word for me, like strategy
Mm.
and strategization and strategizing. Oh, however tense you want to use those. They are it's so vitally important for Saturn to be able to do so, because it he really makes you realize, if you don't have a strategy, if you don't have a plan, like lots of times things are not going to go well for you. Like, and that might be a biased answer on my part, because there's a lot of Mars people and Jupiter people out there that are like, what are you talking about? Like, just do it, man. Like, just do the thing and it'll be done.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's
yeah.
true.
Just do it.
That's right, exactly, and that's true. For me, I found that Saturn just really enjoys to sit down and lay everything out and see how everything works piece by piece.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think that's what a Saturn retrograde is about. It's really very much so um, about the stress test, and just like
Mm.
seeing what is really seeing what's working and what's not. So like I said, Saturn times two makes us
Yeah.
go back over things that we thought we seeded well, like makes us like look at our farm, look at our crops, and be like, okay, I could have stood to
And you
plant
know
this a
what?
little better. Hmm.
Yeah, never comes to my mind responsibility, because when you plant
Mm.
a seed, you're responsible for that seed. That's Saturn. You can't just
Oh
leave
yeah.
it on its own, right? So it's teaching you this kind of real responsibility, and what is maturity, what is responsibility, in what area in your life this is happening. I mean, this is going to square
Yes.
my son. It's going to square my son three
Oh.
times. First, it was squaring my moon three times this year, and now it's going to square my son next year three times. Anyway, it is what it is. Whew. But yeah, but I'm thinking now, it's going to teach me. What is it teaching me? So every time you have this uh, um, hard aspects even affecting your natal chart, even in the sky, it's like, what do I need to learn? What do I need to
Mm.
learn from this? I mean, maybe this is my Gemini talking, but I always feel, what do I need to learn? What is the lesson I need to take from this? What is the
Yeah.
opportunity? Maybe there's an opportunity,
Yeah.
to do something differently, with the better results next time.
Hmm.
Revise my responsibilities. Maybe maybe I'm taking too much. Maybe I'm not taking enough. Stuff like that,
Hmm.
right? So there's a lot of things with Saturn. Yeah,
Yeah.
and go back to agriculture metaphor because it's very good. Thinking about planting a seed, what it needs to from the seed to the fruit, what needs to be done. Hi, misbehaving. She's the best. She's always here. She's saying I'm an early Sag and have Saturn squaring my sun at the moment. Horrible. Yes, I know. I
Oh.
feel you. I know. It's gonna pass. And with Saturn, if you do it properly, if you don't take shortcuts, or you need to do it thoroughly. If you
Hmm.
slop, like if you just want to, no, it's gonna, then you're gonna, then this retrograde and everything is gonna be even harder. If you just do it,
Hmm.
when he goes direct, first time it's squaring you. If you do it properly that time, then the next two times won't be as harsh, as hard. That's how I feel.
Hmm.
But sometimes you don't have the time or the, anyway. This is Saturn, guys. You have to embrace it. He's teaching you. He's the master, the teacher. You know, we all become better at what we do in our everyday
Hmm.
day's life after the
Hmm.
Saturn transits. I feel so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
And
it.
another thing that I feel like he instills is we I said this in different words earlier, but meditation. Like, what do you do when you meditate? You sit down
Yes.
and you breathe. You take deep belly breaths, deep calming belly breaths. And that's what Saturn asks us to do. He's like, "Hey, you're running around everywhere. Take a second and breathe. Take a second and meditate on what's going on and then
Mm,
continue." But if we continue just going and going and going, we're going to burn ourselves out. And that's another thing that is interesting
yeah,
about the archetypal
burnout.
opposition. Yeah, yeah. So Aquarius opposes Leo, and the Sun, according to Vedius Valens, he's a uh, ancient astrologer. The Sun rules the nerves and the intellect, and Saturn is about darkness, and the Sun is light. So of the if the neurons and the electrical synapses are firing off all the time and we're always on, we don't have
Mm,
a time to stop and be silent and be in darkness. And like darkness is good, and it for all the uh Christian practitioners out there, it even says Jesus even says in the Bible to, when you pray to your Father, go into your closet, shut the door, and pray to your Father in secret, as in do it alone, do it isolated, do it meditatively. And that's what you're supposed to do. That's what Saturn wants us to do. He just wants us to slow down, man. He just wants us
yeah,
to take a second.
I know. My dad always used to tell me, "Step on the ball." You know how football players they go run around, but sometimes you need to step. They literally put the foot on the ball to see what's happening and how
Yes.
to strategize, right?
Yes. Oh, I
So
love that. I love that. Yes.
that's my dad, because I was, as a kid, I was, blah, 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 blah. And he would always tell me, "Step on the ball, think about it,
Mm,
just calm down." And he's a Pisces sun, so there you go.
mm.
Just saying. That's a good thing. So yeah, so step on the ball or slow down and to look around and so you can strategize better for the
Hmm.
make. I love that. Yeah.
Oh,
So
I bet.
overall, beautiful July. Um,
Yes.
I'm going to speed up. We're already over an hour. So let's see. Okay,
Oh my God.
August. I know we can talk. I know I can talk all day long, but other
Yeah. Me too.
responsibilities in life.
Right.
So yeah. So again, so Mars is going to get into Gemini in August. So it's going to square Mars,
Hmm.
and it's going to oppose Venus in Virgo, square Jupiter in Gemini. Not a very nice August for Saturn, to be honest. A lot of
Hmm.
hard aspects.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah. Get ready for the quality checks, friends.
yes, and it's retrograde. So think
Yeah.
about it. Now we talked about retrograde and its hard aspects. It's really pushing you to do it properly.
Hmm.
You know, this
Hmm.
is this is the overall. And what about so yeah, so it's gonna square s- uh, Jupiter for the first time. So it's going to be a three-time thing, because
Hmm.
Jupiter is going to go retrograde as well. So first time is going to be in August, then in December for Christmas, I think, and then back sometimes in 2025. So everybody's talking about this is going to be one of the hardest aspects is Jupiter square Saturn. What do you think about it?
I think I tend to think that these two might kind of neutralize each other, hopefully, and
Mhm.
come to a happy medium. It might be difficult because like Jupiter is our beliefs and our world and our worldview, all the things that we amass together
Mhm.
and synthesize, because that's what Jupiter does. It synthesizes things and it makes our worldview, how we see things, how we see the world. Um, like Saturn is the framework of our reality, while Jupiter is the things that we can fit inside that framework that make our worldview. So, Saturn and Jupiter coming together, I really feel like it makes us chisel away at the unneeded things that we have in our worldview that might make us dogmatic,
Mm.
and they might make us zealous, and they might
Yes.
make us like over the top, like way too, because Sagittarius is the Jupiter ruled fire sign, and Sagittarius is all about um how shall I say this? It spreads its message, and that
Mm-hmm.
can fall into preaching and proselytizing. Not that that's bad in every respect, but when you start trying to push your worldview because it's so inflated, it's Jupiter thing, inflation. Your inflated worldview onto someone else, like people are going to push back, and they're like, "Hey, what are you doing? Like I have my own worldview, you have yours." So Saturn
Mm-hmm.
really makes us come in and be like, "Okay, let's kind of chisel away at what is not really
Mm.
what makes our worldview not constructive." That's what Saturn wants to do with Jupiter.
I
It wants us to
actually,
make it. Go ahead.
I kind of like it. I know maybe
Mhm.
I'm weird, but Jupiter and Gemini can be, very over the top gossip, false news, blah blah
Mm.
blah. So this Saturn can narrow it down and shut it out, shut it down.
Yeah,
So I like that. That's the first
yeah,
thing comes to my mind in a mundane level. All this fake news and fake gurus and fake bunch of stuff, so they can they can be good. um
right.
and on the other
Yes.
hand, Rick Levine always says, think about Jupiter, think about balloon. You blow the balloon, that's Jupiter, but then at some point it pops. That's Saturn.
Oh,
That's the boundary. You can't blow the balloon, you know um inevitably. What do you say? I don't know what the word is, but it has to, it's
endlessly.
gonna endlessly. Yeah, that's the word. So it will pop sometime. That's the
Yeah.
Saturn there. So before
Yes.
we pop, maybe it's better to have our own boundaries before we pop, so we still alive in that little.
Mhm.
Just a thought.
That's lovely. I love that. Yeah, it's great. And like because Saturn, I'm sorry, Jupiter is like I think of like runaway inflation as another
Yeah.
thing. And like if you think about it this way too. If you are ever expanding, if you are constantly like just blowing up and inflating and
Mm.
getting bigger and bigger and bigger and more bloated, like if you are constantly reproducing, which Jupiter also rules, it rules fertility and reproduction and sex.
Yes.
If something is always reproducing inside of you at an uncontrollable rate, what is that? It's cancer. It's your cells. That's what happens in
Mm.
cancer. For those our friends who may not know, your cells are replicating at an uncontrollable rate, and that's what results in tumors. That's what results in those things. And the excision, the removal, and the biopsy is Saturn. I
Mm.
don't mean to make a very like
No, no, no,
graphic
that's reality.
metaphor,
That's good to know. It's good to
um,
know. Yeah.
but yeah,
So we have a
that's what
question.
Saturn comes in. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I like that. That's very good. Astrology
Thanks.
style is asking, will Pluto be in Aquarius when Jupiter and Saturn square? Yes, it will. Actually,
Mm.
it's going to be just 0 degrees again, and still in August. So, yeah. And then all three squares are going to be in Aquarius, actually, because when it's going to be in second square is going to be in December when Pluto is going to be in Aquarius again. So, yeah,
Mm.
yeah, it's going to be in,
Yeah.
in, in that sense. Yeah.
Thanks for the question, Astrology and Style. Appreciate you. You're a real
Oh,
one.
yeah, yeah. We love astrology style.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, September. So quickly, September opposing the Sun, opposing Mercury. Yeah, not very pleasant. And oh yeah, it's gonna trine Mars on September 30th. That's beautiful. Mars is gonna be
Nice.
in Cancer. Um, yeah, Mars is gonna be retrograde in Cancer, but you can watch the Caleb video from yesterday about that. We don't want to talk about it, but this is gonna be a
Yeah.
nice end of September. I love that, and it's in a water signs. What do you feel?
Man, I this aspect is, I'll just say it, like it is not very easy. Saturn, we were talking about the planetary rulerships or the aspects. Saturn rules the
Oh yeah.
opposition. Saturn rules oppositions and polarities, and it
Hmm.
makes us look at and paradoxes too, philosophical paradoxes, things that might seem posed but are able to be like reconciled. Because again, remember Saturn's about reconciliation too, because it's
Yeah.
exalted in Libra. But yeah, that what you were saying earlier really resonated with me because it's true. Like I experienced that too, and am experiencing that. Issues with self confidence,
Yeah.
with expressing yourself, exuding your own light.
Mhm.
It's difficult because the sun really shines a light on like your
Mm.
foundational cracks. And like Saturn also makes us look at the what's not real about our authentic expression. And it might present as obstacles and like naysayers of people who are like, oh, you're not being real, you can't do this, you can't do that, blah blah blah. Come on.
Mm.
Saturn is like, okay, that some of those things, even if they might be hurtful, they might be true, but also you are also a person, and
Mm.
you deserve to have an inner light that you exude. You have to have something that sets your heart on fire. What is that? I think that's what Saturn asks. What is that? Like, yes, and it might show conflict with authority figures because actually Saturn and the Sun do both rule authority figures.
Yes.
So how we
Yes.
see authority,
Mm.
how we relate to authority, and also our own inner authority, how we govern ourselves, our
Mhm.
self-governance, our responsibility, our maturity.
Mm.
It's integration of the shadow
Yeah,
into your own psyche. Go
yeah.
ahead.
It,
Go ahead.
it's a question. Why do we need somebody else to tell us what to do? Like, why do you need somebody else? You,
Why
you don't need,
indeed? Right.
right? So
Like,
that's the question I would say with this
yeah,
opposition. Like, why do you
yeah.
need that outside somebody, government or or whatever authority it is to tell you? You need to find it within yourself.
Yeah.
The things. I'm thinking
I
about.
was
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna make a little joke. Whenever these two come
Yes.
together, I always think of the phrase "become ungovernable." Don't actually do that. Be like, yes, like work within the structures of what your society is and all that, but also like, how often do you need someone to tell you what to do? Do you need someone to tell you
Right.
what to do all the time? Like, can you be counted on to just be a mature, responsible person and not be a degenerate deviant who is just like causing problems? Like, what do you do? So it's very much so about integrating the shadow into your own like field
Yeah.
of view.
But Saturn is also experience. So I do feel that,
Oh
when you're
yeah.
young, you don't have that experience that you need to go through all of this rebellious things and all this stuff until you kind of mature. You need to do it. This is the part of embracing Saturn as well. You learn
Yeah.
pushing the boundaries, trying to figure out what it is. I'm thinking about, I have a 3-year-old, it's about that, so
Yes.
trying to figure out what is happening, right? So we as adults also, are trying to figure it out. And, so
Yeah.
but this is a great
And
opportunity to do it, right?
yes.
I'm thinking about Saturn ruling our skin, right?
Oh
And then
yes.
sun. You
Oh
know how
yeah.
you get a sunburn? So this is kind of as well a thing, right? So
Oh.
if you are not in check, your ego and stuff, you burn yourself. So
Oh yeah.
and you need to. Anyway, I'm going too far, but this is something
I love
it
that.
came to my
I love
mind,
that. It's great. No, and like, yeah, if you're not like, did you put on sunscreen before you went outside?
right? This is kind of a
You
thing.
right.
This
Like you're gonna
opposition.
make sure that
Yeah.
you got to make sure that you're protecting yourself, and like it's yeah, it is a bit difficult, but again, it's just about that really defining what is real about you, about society.
Yeah,
Um
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. I
and
know.
like yeah, I
I
again
know.
like I relate to this so much because I used to be very rebellious. I still have that streak in me, but
Where's your
you know
Uranus?
Capricorn.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, you're one of those generations. Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay.
Yeah,
You have that.
yeah, it's conjunct Neptune and Capricorn.
Yeah.
So it's very much so to me. I was like, yeah, no one can tell me what to do. Like, I'm just gonna blast my heavy metal music as I drive down the street and like, but it, I grew older. I got married. And I really realized the value of responsibility. Yes, like you can still be out because Saturn is also things that are out there and weird. So like, yeah, still be out there and weird, man. Like, do you
You
think?
have to. We have to do. We have everything.
Oh,
We have all the planets in our chart, and we have to, do them all at some point
yes,
of our lives.
yes,
And
we do.
so
it's
yeah.
it's about like maintaining your weirdness and your eccentricity, but also like working together as a whole, and like and
Yeah.
then doing the work to become the individual that is able to be integrated into the whole, into society. I feel like that's a very Sun Saturn
And
thing.
especially with the North Node in Aries and all this
Mm,
year, still just
yeah.
confirms this. I don't want to go further
Yes.
there, but this is exactly what you're saying. It's confirming. Yeah, because everything
Mm,
is happening simultaneously. It's not, we are talking about Saturn, but there's much of other stuff,
oh yeah.
big picture. Okay, October. Ooh, starting on October 4th, trining Venus in Scorpio. That's beautiful. Then we're gonna
Oh, and Mercury
have
too.
trining Mercury, yes, and then squaring Venus again at the end. But overall, we talked about these energies. Now
Hmm.
what it is. Nothing major is happening
Hmm.
out of what we mentioned before, because I need to wrap it up. Kind of. That's why I'm
Hmm.
kind of rushing things. But nothing major is happening new. This
Yeah, no,
Sun
not
opposition
really.
was very important, so that was a good one.
Mhm.
November, trining the Sun,
Mm.
squaring Mercury again. So, and then sextiling Venus. So as you see, guys, with Venus and Mercury, because they're very fast, they're changing signs fast. Saturn always has a lot of aspects during the year with them. So sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, harder, more challenging, right? But you know the drill by now, right? So look at the sign. It's also very important how it is going to be expressed, right?
Hmm.
In which signs, Saturn is in Pisces, so it's questioning Piscean themes that we spoke in the beginning. But when Venus is in Gemini or in Sag, it's going to be a little bit different, right? So it's gonna bring up different topics, right? Or Mercury, stuff like that. But it
Hmm.
get good when it has a square with Mercury. I like that because it gives you a sense of think before you say something, which for Geminis and others, some other Sages and stuff, we need that in check sometimes, to be honest. So yeah, I admit it. I admit it. Okay, and then December. So now we're gonna have a square Sun. So you want to talk about
Mm.
that? We're gonna have square Sun, square Mercury, and then square Jupiter again. Square, yeah. So December is
Ooh,
gonna be hard. All
yeah.
the squares. See, Saturn is making like 5 squares that month.
Yeah, like December really just came off to me as really chiseling away at the intellect, really, because all these planets are intellectual planets.
Yeah,
I mean, I
right.
guess really all planets are, but these three in particular, the Sun and Mercury and Jupiter and Saturn too, that they're very much so like about the like mental framework. So yeah, like looking at your intellect, looking at how you express yourself.
Hmm.
You might put your foot in your mouth a couple of times because the Sun and Mercury are both about expression. So, and Saturn's
Can it be
like, hey,
blunt? Can it be
I'm sorry.
blunt? You just. But I'm gonna bluntly say this in a
Yeah.
Sagittarian way. When you have hard aspect between Mercury and Saturn, even Sun, just shut up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like what we were saying earlier. Like, think before you speak, guys. And like we know y'all are smart. We just say
Yeah.
this because like it's true. Like you just have to. You can't just shoot off and expect no consequences to come of it because like that's another thing that Saturn does, man. It makes you look at the consequences of your actions. And I say consequences, and it's like a really it has a negative connotation, but it's just cause and effect. That's what Saturn is. It's the cause and effect. It's karma. It's the results
Yeah.
of your actions. So when you are about to act, think before you act. That's all.
And listen
Just think
more.
about it.
Listen more.
Yeah.
Practice
Mhm.
listening. And I,
Yes.
I know I struggled with that in my life. I still, but I'm really trying. And now that I'm teaching my kid to have listening ears, I'm thinking maybe I should put listening ears more often as well. Mm,
That's a very good point, and, like, to do so, you have to be
mhm.
silent, which Saturn rules silence, so it obviously rules, like, that quiet contemplation, and when you're contemplating quietly about something, you are listening to it and allowing it to enter you, without any, like, "But this, but that, and but what about" I don't know. Just be quiet for a second and just think. Saturn Saturn says that with love, but he's like, stop talking, stop talking. Just just
Yeah.
just listen
Do
for a
you,
second.
do you know that my kid tells me that sometimes? He goes, "Mommy,
Oh.
stop talking. Stop talking." Oh yeah. Because I can talk all the time. Like he comes from daycare. Oh, what's happening? Mommy, stop talking.
Oh.
You know, he has a Scorpio
Oh.
moon. No talking. So
Oh, he likes
yeah.
silence.
Yeah. So now that I know, he says it's less now. I know, but in the beginning, it was like it was interesting to see astrology in action in that sense.
Mm, mhm.
Anyway, we're going to wrap it up. I think this was amazing. I just want to mention one more time Saturn is going to go retrograde 29th June and it's going to go direct on the November 15th. I forgot to mention that. Uh, all
Thank you.
the all the things are below in the description. You can reference all the dates we were talking about here. Andre, this was amazing. I love chatting with you. You're always your analogies. You're so inspiring. You always make me think. Every time after we chat, I'm in some kind of world of my own, thinking. What did I learn? How can I use this? And I really appreciate all of you who were here today and with questions. And we're gonna do another live. We're gonna talk more about this 12th house thing.
I
I'm,
love
I'm
that.
really interested in exploring that with you as well.
Yeah.
Astrology style is laughing. Yes. Yeah. Thank you all, guys, for everything. Andre, please just in a comment, a reminder, put that book in the comments
Yep,
after, so because it's very interesting and I want to get this book as well.
for sure.
Any last thoughts before we finish?
Um, yeah, just with Saturn, guys, just think about the consequences of your actions. Think about
Mm,
the quality control. Go beyond the threshold of what you perceive to be the only thing that's real, and look at what's beyond that, and meditate and contemplate. Be in solitude, and yeah, just do things slowly and with love.
beautiful advice. God bless you. Oh, this is beautiful.
God bless
Thank
you.
you all. Thank you, Andre. See you. I'm going to continue with this on Thursday with the Sid about Uranus. And then I have Hannah on Friday with Neptune and Tom
Oh
on
wow.
Saturday with Pluto. So
Oh
next
wow.
week, three more. Yeah.
Those will be great.
Well, this is what I really enjoy doing, and having such beautiful friends to talk to about astrology makes my heart look. It makes me so happy that
Yes.
Thank you again. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Hugs and kisses, and see you soon. Bye.